go. There you go. You know, it snowed a little bit today. I don't know if you knew that, but I started thinking about snowmen and what they ate, and then it came to me. They eat iceburgers, and I was going to apply to be a dog catcher, but they said they only pay by the pound. And then I started thinking about what kind of shoes Kermit the Frog wore, and then I realized it just must be open-toed sandals. And finally, I figured out which animal is the best at trying new things. Well, it's the guinea pig, of course. But enough of this jocularity and frivolity. Let's climb aboard the furry train and choo-choo-choo our way out of the station. I don't know why that was a silly phrase, but I said it anyway. Off the rails before we get started. Okay, hello, greetings, guten tag, aloha, Moobarkfluff to all the creatures in the Podiverse. I am Barely Normal, and you are tuned into Barely Furcasting, featuring Taebyn. With me, as per usual, is Rayne, question mark, and Taebyn,
question mark.
Taebyn, how the fluff are you?
Well, question mark is doing well, it's doing good. I mean, that's all I can say. My question mark, it's a question. And my question to you is, how are you doing, Mr. Barely?
I'm doing somewhat okay. My family life and life in general has gotten more and more complicated. But how the fluff are you, Rayne? Joining us as our associate editor and producer, Rayne Raccoon. Not with a question mark. How are you?
I'm fine and dandy like cotton candy. And considering raccoons, problems with cotton candy, so it's probably not that great, but we like to wash stuff, and cotton candy is just not a washable food.
No, it disappears.
It gets messy.
Yes.
Yeah, it goes away. It's like,
goes
that was
away.
magic. I've always thought that was like cotton candy is magic, because how does it do that?
Gosh,
yes,
spun sugar. It's delicious.
And what do they call it across the pond? Do either of you know?
I do.
What is
it?
You
know, Taebyn? It's sugar floss.
Sugar floss. Try flossing with that. You're not going to get very far.
No, but you'll definitely enjoy it more.
Yep. Yes, sugar floss.
That does explain dental problems in the UK.
Well, it could also be that they don't have very good dentists.
Could be that too.
They could just not have good dental schools over there. So they talk about it. It's an oral surgeon. They just talk you into it. So you've got a cavity. Oh no, that's it's an oral surgeon. All right, so let's get to the past today. I have nothing for the past today. I have some future today. Some of our listeners may have noticed that there was no episode last week. We're making some changes, which I put in the Telegram chat today. I'm moving it to every other week for release. This allows us time in between episodes to do our things. Life has gotten busy lately. This also give us some time. Word hard talk speak problem. Yes.
That reminds me, how you should do about English.
That's right.
I think what that is.
About English, right there. Yes. How you should.
I haven't have my notes from last time.
Yes, exactly. And that also gives us time to have some more guests on, because we have found a lot of times that we're just so pressed for time that we just can't schedule our guests. And so this is going to give us some extra time. Extra time. I'm going to ask you a question. So we feel that every other week release will help us all out. Do either of you have anything that is past that needs to be present?
I do not.
Okay.
In the today, I do not.
Okay. All right then. All right. Well, then that's going to take us into the media section of our show. I started and finished B-Stars, much to Taebyn's excitement. And
I wag.
He wags. The series is pretty good, even if I get frustrated at it sometimes.
Frustrated, you say?
I do say. I do get frustrated. I get frustrated at it when it's all that internal dialogue. It's all that internal dialogue that goes on.
Mavity.
Mavity, yes, dang that Mavity. And sometimes it's hard to understand why they're having that internal dialogue. And it's just like, just fight already. I don't need to
Just say
hear
it. Yes,
your
don't.
reasoning, just say it out loud. Or then a couple of times you're watching
It's an anime thing.
I know. But a couple of times you're watching it and you're hearing the dialogue and you're thinking, are they saying that out loud? Because this is really what they should be saying to that other character. And then the other character reacts as if they had said that to them.
But they didn't.
But they didn't. And then I'm like, well, do they know how to read minds in this? I'm so confused. I'm so confused.
I see.
So that was frustrating. There was a couple of times I really had to back it up. And the second to the last episode, I have to tell you, I don't know who did the closed captioning, but it was completely different.
Was this season 1 or season 2?
This was season 2, the very last,
really?
Episode, when he ate the moth. Do you remember when he ate the moth? And they had the whole episode was about ingesting the other animals and how it gave you the strength and the
yes.
Okay, right. So he's talking to the moth in his drug-addled brain, I'm assuming, and the dialogue, it says that the closed captioning, it was so strange. He says something about, I take you in as nourishment and make you, part of my life, blah, blah, blah. That's what he actually said. And on the closed captioning, it said,
Charlie's losing it.
I lost it. It said Legoshi eats a moth.
There's a lot more to it than that.
There's a lot more to it.
Look, the closed caption guy was just tired. He's like, I'm done with this. Legoshi eats a moth. It's done.
It's done. Yeah. And then the moth goes into this. The moth goes into this.
It's like a big thing, though.
I know it was critical to the storyline, and the audio part was beautiful, was perfect. But then Moth explains why he's important. Was the closed captioning, and I was like,
so we'd like to know.
Yeah, exactly.
Oh, that's funny. I'll have to watch that with closed caption on now, just because of that.
It's just. I was like, and I watched it, and I was watching it with my friend Blitz in Tennessee, and I said, do you have the closed captioning on? He says, no. I said, turn it on because this is just so weird. It's just, and it's like what it, and in some cases, it wasn't even part of the scene. They were still closed captioning from the prior scene.
Oh no!
And I was like, okay,
well that doesn't help.
Doesn't help at all. No.
No.
So that's what made me frustrated about.
Okay,
yeah,
I can understand that.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm. And the reason I put
it does make for a fun, like it's an unexpected comedic version,
right? Yeah,
Beastars when you watch it with
exactly. All right, so I started season 3 of For All Mankind on Apple TV. It's a great series, great series.
I'm gonna have to start watching it.
They're on their way to Mars now, so I'm very excited about that. And I'm going to talk about some television show continuity science issues later on in this, after you guys talk about your stuff. I'm watching The Brothers Sun, or Brothers Sun, as they say it on the show, on Netflix. It's pretty good. Taebyn, at your suggestion, I tried to watch Tacoma FD, and I couldn't. That first scene where first of all, the heavyset actor, I didn't like him in any of the shows he's been in, any of the Super Troopers and stuff like that. I just didn't like that character that he plays, and he plays it in everything he's in, always, with this whole the Easy Lizard or whatever it is. Stuff. Yeah, he was in those Easy other ones too. Whatever the production company is that made this. I just couldn't watch it. I got past the cracker scene, and then when they're sitting in the ambulance and they're trying to eat 6 crackers.
Oh yeah.
And then they
it's It's a stupid show. It's
it's it's along the lines of Super Troopers. It's along the lines of all
Mm.
other stuff. I just couldn't get it. And then the
Yeah.
llama started spitting green stuff, and it's like llamas don't spit green.
Oh yeah,
No,
that wasn't.
it.
No, that didn't. Yep.
I mean,
So
maybe if you had a mouthful of hay at the time, it might
yeah,
turn a little green, but it's just spit
or crackers. Yeah, so,
or
anyway,
crackers.
so,
Yeah.
yeah.
If you
Started,
give the llama crackers, they probably wouldn't spit at you.
if you give a llama crackers, is it like if you give a moose a muffin?
Right.
If
I
you
was
give a
just thinking
llama
the
a cracker, yeah.
exact same.
I've been watching Halo with hubby, as well as the new Rick and Morty season, and of course DS9
Nice.
at bedtime. I've watched the movie The Beekeeper with Jason Statham. Very.
Oh, how was that? I
Oh,
want to see that.
it's
Yeah, that's one on
awesome.
my list too.
It's awesome. It's really good.
Yeah, I
Really,
saw a
really
trailer
good.
and I'm like, I have to see that. So
Yeah.
it's good to know someone's seen it that can tell me about it.
I totally recommend it. I would watch it again. In fact, I'm hoping
Awesome.
to watch it again tomorrow, but it's not on any streaming services yet. So
Okay.
Right.
you'll have to wait for it to come out if you're going to
I'll
watch
write
it,
that down.
or find a friend that has a copy of it and watch it. There you go. I watched the period piece Killers of the Flower Moon, which is on Apple TV now, and that is with Leonardo DiCaprio. It's very
Oof.
long. It's 3 hours and 45 minutes in length. It's a
Oh,
very long movie. And I believe that Leonardo has a contract thing that he must have a makeout session in an old-timey vehicle in every movie he's in,
I think so.
because he does that in every movie he's in now.
Well, no, not
so-
Quick and the Dead. He just had a makeout on top of gunpowder.
Okay, all right. So yeah,
But yeah, that's the only movie I like him in.
Yeah.
Because he gets killed.
he gets killed in it. Okay, I hear The
Yes.
Revenant is really good. I haven't watched that yet either. So
I lost all kind of respect for Leonardo after after Gilbert Grape. He was good in Gilbert Grape, and then it just like went downhill for me.
Well, it's one of those things. You watch an actor in a certain movie, and then that's all you can see every time they act. And
Well, like the next big thing was Titanic, and that movie was just trash. I hate Titanic.
he should have played it as Gilbert Grape. It would have made it much more fun.
Yeah, it would have been much better.
and then put Japanese like closed caption on
Right.
it, and
Right.
would have helped it out a lot.
Leonardo draws her like one of his fancy French girls.
Yes.
And then he eats a moth.
And eats a moth.
Yes. And
the moth explains why he's important.
that's right.
Exactly.
So the movie was really good. It's about the Osage Indian tribe that were settled on Oklahoma, in the Oklahoma Badlands, for lack of a better place. And they discovered oil on their land, and they became one of the richest per capita peoples in the world for a very long time because of this oil in the 1920s. The character that DiCaprio plays is not a historical character. He is poetic license to tell the story.
Oh, so like Jack.
Right. Yeah, he is poetic license to tell the story. All the other main characters in the story are representative of actual people that lived and the things that they went through during this thing. And essentially what happens was, in the Osage tribe, the men ran the tribe, but the females owned the property. And so all of the oil rights that came to the females of the property, and the white man came in and was starting marrying up the Osage Indians to get the head rights to all the oils and all the oil drillings. And so in order to consolidate them, this one guy started killing off the women so that they could consolidate up to one person to keep all the oil. And it's an actual true story. I did a lot of research afterwards to talk about that.
Yeah, the shit that's been done to indigenous people in this country is
awful.
Really
awful.
Yes.
Well, the thing that's been done to indigenous peoples in every country is awful.
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah,
pretty much.
The white man was a conquering race, and the others were not so much. They were like, "Hello, welcome to our land." I'm dead. Okay, thanks.
Yeah.
So
thanks, conquistadors.
Yes,
I always wanted smallpox.
Yes. So before I get into my rant about television and movie continuity, Taebyn, what have you been watching?
I watched 2 more episodes of Lower Decks for lunchies.
And how do you like it?
And it's good. It's well, like we've talked about. It's very. I mean, I know we all love how it's very like it's Star Trek-y. I mean, it's so.
You can tell they love Star Trek, and they use every ounce of that love to poke fun at every Star Trek
and
franchise.
do an amazing job of it too.
Right.
It's like it's on point. I mean, I was thinking when I was watching just today, and I've thought this before, of course, too, but that like the title and ending scenes and where they like the font for the stuff and like just everything and like it's so exactly Star Trek, and it's really great. Of course
I love the Borg scene where they're all fighting the Borg.
Yes.
And then they're like, nope, I'm out.
The Doritos just turns. It's like, nope, we're done.
Nope, we're done. We're out.
Not even going to watch. This is if we're done. Yeah, no, it's really good. And of course, the storylines and the plots. And as I've talked about before, how they're like, things are mass murdering and things are blowing up all around them. And they're talking about, oh, what did you have for dinner last night? Oh, wait, let me kill this alien. Okay, yeah. And so did it go well with the wine you had? You know, and
yep.
That's so Star Trek.
That's very Star Trek. Yep.
Yes.
Anyway, so I'm liking that. That's good. I'm almost done with season 1. We watched, well, are we still watching? Yeah, I think we're still watching something on Netflix called The Tourist. Either of you heard of The Tourist?
I have not.
I have, but I have not watched it yet.
It's fun, actually. It's about a guy. He woke up with no memory, so he like went total amnesia and everything, and doesn't have any recollection of anything. And he does stuff, and he turns out to be a horrible person, but there's lots involved there, so that's not giving too much away. But it's a fun show. I recommend checking it out. It's definitely better than the llama spitting green stuff for no reason and moths eating wolves and things. So it's definitely better than that. But yeah, no, I recommend checking it out. It's a comedy-ish, drama-ish, I guess. I'm not sure what they classify it as, but it's pretty good. It's you know, I think episodes are, how long are episodes? I think they're 40-minute episodes, something like that. We are also watched a shorter, it's more of a lunchy thing. They're like 25-minute episodes, something called Resident Alien. Have you
Oh my God, great show. Great show.
Great show.
Okay, you've both seen it. Yeah. It's we're only, I think, we're only like 4 episodes into it, or maybe 5 or something. But yeah, it's hilarious, and I mean both you. So I guess all our listeners, if you haven't heard of this, it's a great show. It's about an alien on Earth in Earth
played
life.
by the great Alan Tudyk.
Yes, who was the navigator on Firefly.
Firefly, yeah. He was Wash on Firefly.
Yeah. Did not know that.
He is a fantastic character actor and can play just about any part. He was also K2SO in Rogue One.
Yes, he was.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes. He is a fantastic actor. One of my favorite.
Very versatile. He's not like the one in Tacoma FD where he plays the exact same part.
No.
Or Leonardo DiCaprio.
Yeah. He plays the exact same part and everything. I love the one scene in the very first, I think it was a second or third episode, where he discovers that the kids can see who he really is.
Yes.
And he turns around and the kid goes, ah, and he goes, oh shit.
I love the scene where he first gets drunk and he's dancing to Nicki Minaj's Starships.
Oh.
And just like
I saw that too, yeah.
Having an absolute blast of a time. It's hilarious. It's Alan Tudyk at his best.
I think that was the either last or second to the last episode I saw, actually. So
it's early in the series
show.
when he gets drunk the first time.
It's funny. Great show. We're also currently watching another 30-minute thing or something called The Mick. Have either of you heard of The Mick?
I've heard of it, have not watched it.
I've seen
you
it.
have barely. You have, yes.
Yeah.
That's
an older show. Isn't that from? That's from like 2012, 2013. Because I remember watching that.
Older? Oh, I didn't know that.
Yeah, I remember watching that before I moved to the current house that I'm in, and I've been in this house since 2012. So
I had no idea. Okay, do you know? So, but what do you think of the show? Or did you?
I thought it was good. I thought it was really good. It was fun.
It's good. So for all you furs out there that haven't seen it, and Rayne, that hasn't seen it. Well, you're for out there that hasn't seen it, so you're in that group. So it stars Kate Olsen, like one of the Olsen twins, which is like just kind of hilarious to think about to begin with. But it's about like a what would you call her? Vagabond-ish young lady who ends up having to take care of 3 delinquent rich kids. I mean that's and hilarity ensues from there, and it's actually a pretty good show. We're liking it, and we're I think halfway through the first season. We saw a movie called American Assassin. Have either of you seen this show movie?
Have not.
It's really good. It's an action movie. It has a really good plot. The plot is, after the death of his girlfriend at the hands of terrorists, Mitch Rapp is drawn into the world of counterterrorism, mentored by tough as nails former U.S. Naval
Navy
SEAL Stan Hurley.
Do English
If
good.
any of what was the it was how you should do about English.
That's right.
How you should do about English.
Yes.
That's exactly. So if any of you first got any of what I just said, it's a really good plot, really great action, good acting, and everything. And we really liked it. It's one of those. It opens itself up to an American Assassin 2, so sequel. I don't know if a sequel is coming out, but it sure opens itself up to one anyway. So really recommend it. Go ahead and check it out, and tell us what you think. And that's what I've been watching. I've been playing the normal stuff. Bloons, Monkeys Go Pop, Beat Saber, Hearthstone, Royal Match. And Beat Saber, you might know, Rayne, because you do Beat Saber. Panic at the Disco has a song, Crazy Equals Genius. And they have a Beat Saber song, and I really that's one of the songs I really like playing to. But I've only beat it on hard. So I tried Expert today. Expert difficulty on 80% speed, and even that is it is crazy. Yeah. I mean, it's just so did I even beat it? I did actually beat it, but it got so close at it's just crazy. I can't even. Well, I've tried it on 100% speed before. No, I mean no. It's and your arms are like going.
Then you got to duck and slide left and right, and
it's just crazy. So anyway, been having fun with that, and that's what I've been watching and playing. What about you, Mr. Rayne? What's been going on with you?
Well, I have not been watching much because I've been playing Tiny Tina's Wonderlands on PC.
Oh, that sounds cute.
Yeah, it's a Borderlands spin-off with Tiny Tina from the Borderlands 1, 2, 3 games. Basically, you play a newbie who's stuck in Tiny Tina's bunker with Valentine, who's voiced by Andy Samberg from, Brooklyn Nine-Nine, and then Fret, who's a robot, and she's voiced by Wanda Sykes. And of course, Tiny Tina is DMing the game of Bunkers and Badasses. Well, I guess technically she'd be BMing it. Since it's Bunkers and Badasses, not Dungeons and Dragons. So she's the bunker master. So it's like Borderlands in that it's still a first-person shooter, but they throw in a lot of corny D&D humor, lots of Tiny Tina's bizarre imagination stuff. She's a little girl who loves explosives, so there's going to be explosions. Yeah, so it's pretty fun. It's like $14 right now because it's been out for a while, but it's fun. If you liked Borderlands, it's very tune shaded. Everything in it is toony. And when you go to the overworld, which is the game board that she set out, your character becomes like this little bobbleheaded figurine that you move around, and then like you go into like dungeons or whatever, and then you turn back into your first person view. So it goes third person first. Yeah, it's very cute. Yeah, the queen of the realm is Queen Butt Stallion. She's a bicorn. She's a crystal bicorn.
Okay,
because Tiny Tina's a little girl, and she has to have her coolest imaginary friend. So yeah, very very fun. A lot of corny jokes. If you're a D&D nerd, there's a ton of D&D jokes in the whole thing. So I recommend it. I give it two raccoon thumbs up.
Cool. When you were mentioning that, I also remembered that I watched the movie Tetris. Have either of you seen this movie?
I have not.
No, I've heard of it. How is that?
It's really, really good. I was not expecting much, but the Tarragon, or whatever the hell his name is, the kid that played in The Kingsman, is the main character.
Oh, yeah, Egerton.
Egerton, not Tarragon.
Yeah. Tarragon's the spice.
Yes, Tarragon's the spice. A spice can is just walking around doing stuff all over the place. So, but it's really, really good. And it's for anybody that doesn't know, it's the story of how Tetris came to America and how it was invented by Russians and how the Russians tried to control it and how it got sold and stolen to the various software companies and the rights for different things and all other kind of stuff. And it really, really was interesting. It has lots of international intrigue and action and fun and excitement that you wouldn't think of when it comes to how a video game came to America.
Came to be.
And just speaking of one of those copies, I think just last year, a 12 or 13-year-old kid beat the Super Nintendo version of Tetris and locked the game up. Which apparently nobody has done before.
I saw that.
And this kid managed to get so far into the game that the game just couldn't function anymore, and it locks up.
I remember finding that on YouTube. The thing about that was like, oh, what's this about?
Yeah.
And that was like...
And he was seriously just like awestruck when he did it. He didn't think, he didn't think he would ever be able to do it because, so he's the youngest person to ever lock the game up. And I think one of the first to ever lock the game up.
Yeah.
I remember if it's the same clip, or it wasn't a clip, it was like a 20-minute video or something of that. They did like a history of everyone that's tried to get as far as they can in the game, and they did, and this person did this and blah blah, but then but then this person did, and it was all like kind of dramatic history of it. It was kind of fun.
Okay.
But yeah, anyway.
Cool. Okay, so now I have a rant about two things in television and movie continuity and problems that I have. My first one is gravity, or mavity, as they say on the new Doctor Who. Here's the thing. I've been watching For All Mankind. And I watched an episode recently, and the premise is they've built a space station, if you will, on the moon, where they function out of, and they do their stuff, and they go out and they mine ice on the moon. They found ice on the moon.
Mice on the moon.
Mice on the moon. Yes.
Mice on the moon.
Ice in the moon.
Well, because they're there for the cheese.
Yes, exactly. But, when they're outside, they have light gravity. So they're bouncing and they're running, right? Because it's 1/3 gravity on the moon. Is that what they say? Yeah. That's what it is, right? So
1/3, 1/4. I can't remember.
But when they go inside the space station, gravity is normal. It should be the same inside the space station as it is outside the space station.
Unless they have grav plates.
But they don't.
But this doesn't sound like it's that far into the future.
No, it's not. And so I was watching the show and I thought, now wait a minute. And so now I cannot watch without questioning it every freaking time. It's like, no, the gravity should be the same. If you throw a pen down, it should go slowly, not clunk like it does in regular gravity. So that's my first rant. My second,
that is a pain in the ass.
My second rant has to do with the Star Trek universe and the Universal Translator. Okay.
There's a big problem with it.
There's a huge problem with the Universal Translator. Taebyn, you watch Star Trek. You've done Star Trek stuff, right? You're watching Lower Deck, so you know about, right?
I know about Star Trek stuff. Yes.
Yep. So the Universal Translator, and I actually did research on this because I wanted to find out if I was just missing something or if this was something that was really a problem. And everything that I read, everybody was saying this is a problem. So here's my rant. The Universal Translator is built into the ships and their comm badges. So when they're down on a planet, stuff like that, they can communicate with the various races. And it automatically translates for you what the other person is saying into your language so you can understand it.
It's like a babblefish.
Right.
Yes.
So why, when the Klingons say Qapla', does it not translate that for the person that's listening to it?
Because there is a dictionary. I have it somewhere around here.
So
Like it's very close by, and yeah, Qapla' is translated to victory in English.
right.
Isn't it
So
good luck?
No, it means well, it's kind of more
'Cause
like
that's what
victory and
Picard
good
said.
luck. Victory and good luck in battle,
right.
Oh,
kind of the same thing. For Klingons are very the whole language is very battle oriented.
But we wouldn't know that because as Barely is saying, it doesn't translate like it should.
Right, right. So why is the
It's-
translator picking out words that doesn't translate, and then they'll show
It's
the Klingons or some other alien race, and somebody's listening to them, and they're talking in their native tongue, and the translator's not translating for them. Why is the translator not translating for them?
it's biased. That's why.
It's very
Wow.
biased.
It needs to like go to
And,
like counseling or like non-biased training or something like that. I don't know.
right, and you have to have a device. If you're down on a planet, you have to have a translator on you in order for it to translate for you.
Mhm.
So there was a very long episode on DS9 called Little Green Men, where the Ferengis
Good episode,
get
except
sent
for the
back
Ferengi
in
part,
time,
yeah.
and their universal translator doesn't work while they're initially. So they're talking in Ferenginar, and
Yeah,
the
because of the radiation, because they got stuck
right.
at
So
Area
the
51.
Americans that are there can't understand them. Well, they fix their internal, which is inside their head, so that it's advanced enough that Ferengis have it implanted
in
in
their
their
ear.
head, in their ear. It has a
In their
reset
ear.
button, which you can reset with a paper clip, apparently. And they're
Let's spin by Apple.
yeah. So they fix their universal translators, and all of a sudden the Americans can understand them. Now, the universal translator does not take the speaker's language and turns it into English. It just lets the listener hear it as if it was spoken in English. But since the Americans didn't have a universal translator with them, they shouldn't have been able to understand the Ferengis still. The Ferengis should have been able to understand the Americans, but not the other way around, because they did not give them a device to translate for them.
Mhm.
And
I see.
so it's just like, so now whenever I watch the Star Trek and the Klingons talk, I'm like, why is the translator choosing those words not to decipher?
Oh, even the Ferengi, when they talk, some of their words don't get translated either.
Right.
Like umox is not an English word.
Right.
So yeah, but whenever they say umox, it comes out as
I mean,
umox on the thing.
Now, the only thing that I can think of, and I actually put this in the Reddit feed that I found, was that maybe some of these words have become so commonplace that the English translation doesn't need to be there anymore because everybody knows what it means, like umox or
Possibly.
Qapla' or things like that.
Kind of like how even us, like, for example, there's Japanese words that are actually like copy machine in Japanese is copy machine, and
replacement words.
and so
Right.
it's like there's a common word that everyone knows, and so that's what they're
Taxi is
thinking. Maybe that happens.
Takushio.
Yeah.
So yeah, there are probably some common replacement words that kind of get
right
together. I would think that would be the way language would work in the future.
Right. So what was funny is when I was watching Killers of the Flower Moon with my buddy, he had closed captioning turned on because they speak in their native tongue a lot. But it would only sometimes give us the closed captioning for what they were saying, and other times it wouldn't. And he says, "Oh, they're speaking Klingon, clearly."
Clearly, and only sometimes would you know that the moth
would tell you
has an imagination.
Yes.
I mean,
well,
only sometimes.
Like even Enterprise tried to start out with the universal translator doing it the right way to try and fix all these problems, but they even gave up. Like halfway through Enterprise, they didn't even like hardly bother with it unless it moved the story forward. So like if it wasn't like a critical part of the story, they just didn't even like forget about it. And like you got Shran coming in, he speaks perfect English,
right?
Apparently.
Yep. So those are my two continuity issues that makes me sometimes, and maybe I shouldn't watch these things while I'm enhanced with cannabis products, and I wouldn't have these thoughts. I don't know. Hard to say.
Maybe.
But clearly, I'm not
Try
the first.
bourbon next time.
I'm not the first and only person to have come up with these issues because it's all over
No,
the
you're not.
interwebs. All right. Well, let's take a turn now a little bit and go to a little bit of this or that.
This or that.
Taebyn didn't do it, so Rayne had to step
No,
in
I
there.
did. Because he was just like sitting there. So
I've been replaced.
I've been replaced.
So, all right,
Hey, I
Taebyn.
pay for the epidemic count, so
All right,
I can replace it if I want.
Taebyn, I'm going to ask you first. Would you rather be a
Okay.
crocodile or an alligator?
I'm thinking way too hard about this. I'm thinking way too hard about this. I'm just gonna go alligator
Okay.
because
That way you can see you later instead of after a while.
that's true. We'll just do that. Yes.
Yeah, all right.
That is exactly right.
Okay. Rayne, how about you? Would you rather know the future but no one believes you, or know everything about the past?
That's a good one. I would rather know the future because I can learn just about everything about the past that's useful.
Okay.
Books and stuff. I'd rather know the future and nobody believe me. Especially, I'd rather know the future lottery numbers so that I could win the lottery.
That's
Mm-hmm.
that's a good point there.
Speaking of knowing the past or future, I was watching an old episode of Big Bang Theory, and they were talking.
yeah.
They were talking about the time travel paradox of Biff going back in time with the book.
Mhm.
Oh
And-
yeah.
And then they started talking about whether the correct grammar tenses would have been or would have been have.
Would have been. Would have been out, yes. I love Big Bang Theory.
Yep. All right.
They talked to my nerd soul.
Yes. Taebyn, would
Hi.
you rather have a beautiful singing voice, but you can only sing a song you hate, or have a terrible singing voice, but you can sing anything?
Well, I already have a horrible singing voice and sing anything and everything, so I'll go with the first one.
Okay. All right. So a beautiful singing voice. Rayne, would you rather play perfect guitar, but only when you perform a song you hate, or mediocre guitar, but you can perform anything? Similar to the last
Sounds like
question.
a theme.
Mediocre.
Mediocre. All right. Taebyn, do you
Hello?
would you prefer fishing or hunting?
And just straight to the point.
Just straight to the
others
point.
have
Yeah.
been
That's, yeah.
like there's been a story involved in the other, but this is just fishing or hunting. I think I'll go with fishing for whatever reason I don't know.
It's much more
Unless it's
relaxing.
Turkeys.
Yeah.
Unless I changed that to hunting. Yes, because turkey. I want to. Yeah,
You want to-
that's a good point.
Want to make turkeys exist not anymore? Yes.
Exists
But
not
exist in
anymore.
his
Yes.
belly as yummy turkey sandwiches.
Mm-hmm. Okay. And finally, Rayne, would you
Mhm.
rather be a social media most hated or a nobody who people love?
Oh, I'm already a nobody that people love, so I'll stick with that.
Okay. Alrighty then. So,
Okay, I can't sing. Nobody loves rain. It's
yeah. There was a
I still have
question.
more followers on Blue Sky than you.
There was a
It's
question.
true.
One of the
It's very
questions
true.
that I skipped over, and it was going to fall to Rayne, was long hair or no hair. But we already know.
We already
The
know.
No
answer.
hair.
Yeah. So,
Actually, I prefer it. As time has gone on, I have realized I save so much time in the morning that I don't have to get up and brush my hair.
Mhm.
I can just run my
You don't
razor.
have to wash it.
I don't have to wash it. I save so much money on shampoo.
Yep, yep.
It's actually not bad.
Yes. Yeah.
I can't even imagine you with hair.
It's weird. I had like Tom Baker hair. I had Tom Baker, Dr.
Oh,
Who
really?
hair.
Okay. All
Really?
right.
Really?
Yeah.
Interesting. That's
Yeah,
interesting.
yeah.
Very curly brown, kind of unmanageable hair.
Aha. All right, so we've changed our next segment from furries in the news to furry news. And I'm interested to know whether or not Taebyn has come up with something different for the beginning of furry news.
The vacant look on his face and the like little scrunchy muzz tells me he just realized that starts this episode.
So furry news. We'll just go with that.
Okay.
Dun, 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 dun.
Okay. All right. It's the Furry News Network. FNN. All right. FNN. So the only story I have is, of course, the passing of Cy Sable, otherwise known as Mark Merlino.
So sad.
Who passed on February 20th, 2024. He was 71 years old when he passed. He was the founder and of CFO and Conference. He was considered one of the founding fathers of the furry fandom. There's a lot of F's in that sentence. And by hosting furry parties at sci-fi cons, and then later founding the first furry con, which was, of course, Conference. And Taebyn, I think you pointed that out in the Telegram chat a couple of times when folks were talking about this. He hosted furry parties for decades at the Prancing Skill Tear. Now, I didn't realize that I thought that whenever it was talking about the Prancing Skill Tear all the time, I thought it was a bar. But that was what the name he gave to his home. No, that's the name he gave to his home. So,
yeah. And you might remember when we had Summercat on the show, he was talking about how he actually had gone to Prancing Skill Tear. Gatherings and stuff, and of course a lot of furs have gone to Prancing Skill Tear.
Right, and I always thought it was
a bar down in California.
Someplace. Yeah, I didn't realize it was this guy's home. Many friendships blossomed, ideas flourished, and what it means to be furry found its roots at the Prancing Skill Tear. Beyond his foundational work, Cy's influence reverberated through the countless other conventions. His contributions to the early fandom chronicled in works like The Fandom, serve as a testament to his enduring legacy, ensuring that his influence will be remembered and cherished for generations to come. Rest in peace, Cy. You will always have a place in our furry history.
Rest in peace, Cy.
Yes. I have no other news stories unless either one of you furs have something you want to talk about in the furry news.
No, I had one that I thought I was going to, but when I opened it up, it was not particularly good. So I don't feel it. Well, I get a Google notification that there's furry news stories, and this one I was like, oh, this might be good, and I opened it up, and it was by a crappy journalist that didn't really get the furry fandom, and I was like,
nah, did my article finally get published?
Yeah. It was by Taebyn the pup,
and it said bark, 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 tail, bark, tail, bark, 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 bark.
Yeah, that's
bark, tail, bark, bark, bark.
That's
Weird
exactly
Al,
what it said.
Bark, tail. Con, bark, bark, bark.
Pretty not noteworthy. Yeah. Hug with pauses.
Hug with pauses. Yeah. I was having a discussion, and this is sort of in the news. Of course, the Oklahoma thing, it's taking it to a vote. The Oklahoma representative is moving it forward in the House in Oklahoma for having children that act like animals removed from schools. And
what? I had not heard about this.
Yes.
Oh, yes.
By the dog catcher.
Mm-hmm. The first thing.
What? The cow.
Yes. So he's basing all of this on all the debunked things that have come forward. He is moving this bill forward in the legislature in Oklahoma, that if a child acts like an animal or dresses like an animal or wears anything that would indicate that they are pretending to be an animal, that their parents will be called, and if they do not pick them up, then they will call animal control to come get the child. Now,
oh my cow!
Yeah. Oh,
which I don't think,
what?
I don't think is legal, because there are certain statutes about who can take children, and
animal control is not one of them.
Animal control is not one of them, because those people are not vetted through the proper agencies for taking care of children.
They weren't even at the vet. Not
right.
They vetted. Right. They didn't even have the vet.
And as I was
having worked at a school district for years, there are a lot of criteria you have to pass to be able to be a children's guardian if you're not their parent or legal guardian.
Right.
And
You
most
can't
animal
even
control officers would not pass it.
No, and you can't even arrest a child without a parent being present in a school district. So he's just a moron. That's all there is to it.
Yeah, definitely.
And one of the Democratic representatives said to him, "Well, what about school mascots?" "Well, those are exempt," he said. So they said, "Oh, so if every student comes dressed as a school mascot, that's okay?"
Uh-huh.
Loopholes.
What was the answer to that? What did he say?
He said, "I'm not talking about the mascots. I'm talking about children pretending to be animals." And the Democrat said, "Yes, school mascots."
Yes.
Yeah, that is exactly what school mascots do.
Oh my lord. Oh my cow.
A vast majority of school mascots, because
some of them are
my
not.
mascot was my high school mascot was the Trojans.
So they wore condoms?
And I mean,
yes, it was a giant condom.
A condom that was
slinked out.
And some of them are cranberry trees.
Soldier.
Yes.
That's a good mascot too. Yeah, the cranberry tree.
Yes. Oh, and speaking of strange words that Taebyn makes up, I understand there's a new cocktail called the Barking Pineapple that's going to be available at cons moving forward.
That's right.
I believe my beloved made that
he made that drink up. Yes. So there we go.
And so we'll add it right up there with the green Taebyn.
Uh-huh.
Taebyn can't drink because it's got bourbon in it, and he doesn't like bourbon.
Right. Well, this one's got rum and vodka in it. So
yes,
rum and vodka, and a peppered rim, which that's the bark, I guess. So
yeah, you got to have that bark peppered and peppered with a little bit of sweetness.
Yes. All right. So that takes.
Although I take umbrage at the dehydrated pineapple as garnish. I would rather have a fresh pineapple.
Fresh pineapple. Yeah. Well, it's a work in progress. We will fine tune it and
it does sound good though. I love everything that's in it.
Mm-hmm. Not a big fan of the pepper. I might ask for maybe a Bloody Mary rim, but
like sometimes pink peppercorn can actually be pretty good.
Okay.
So we'll see.
We'll have to get some purple peppercorn. Say that 5 times fast.
Peppercorns.
Purple peppercorn.
Go on, pup. Say purple peppercorn 5 times fast.
I'll just stick with the 5 times fast. I said that part anyway. So,
all right. So that takes us up to upcoming events. And Taebyn, if you're going to attend any of these, jump right in as I get to it. Our first one is Vancouver 2024, March 7th through the 10th.
I'm jumping in.
Okay. Are you going to Vancouver?
He's attending that. Yes.
I am. And theoretically, is that this weekend? When does this episode drop?
This episode drops... I put it at the top of the thing. It drops the 9th. So yes, you will be there when this episode comes out.
Yes.
If you're listening to this episode, like when it
drops,
comes on the air, I am there at Vancouver, but I'm not there yet. This is the whole like time travel thing that we talked about for the pod, and it's So Vancouver 2024, March 7th March 7th through 10th in British Columbia, it's actually in Surrey. It's not in Vancouver, but it's just like southeast of Vancouver. Anyway, and I was thinking, I've actually been thinking about this a bunch the past few weeks. This is actually going to be I'll be interested to see how it goes. I'm excited. We're looking forward to it, going with my honey, but it's going to be really weird and different for me. It's like, it'll be like when you go to your first con and you don't know anything or what's going on, because like, Cassidy said it will be there, so I'll know Cassidy. But other than that, I don't know any fur that's going.
You're not unknown to Canadian furries, though.
No,
am I not?
No, you're very
because
well known.
when I invited Skuru on, he knew who you were.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Oh, well, maybe some will know me. So
I'm sure a good portion will know who you are, and you will be pleasantly
a good portion.
surprised.
Just like when you have really good. New England clam chowder, you have a good portion.
Yes.
Sure.
Yes. Or like that restaurant. That's good enough. It's good enough. Yeah.
It's good enough.
Good
It's
enough.
good enough.
That's their
so it'll be-
slogan. It's good
so-
enough.
Okay, so that'll be. It's good enough. You can do it. It's good enough.
It's good enough.
So it'll be interesting then, actually, to see like, okay, so some might know me, so that's interesting, and also, I'm not doing like as much as I normally do. You know how I normally, how I normally am at cons. I'm not actually doing as much as I normally am. So, I'm looking forward to it. We'll see.
Good. Cool.
But
I hear
I
really
have-
good things. I've
I
heard
have
lots of good things about
styled
it.
up. I have styled up the pup in full steampunk regalia
Nice.
for his
True.
cutie pageant.
For the cutie
So-
pageant. So
Ah.
I'm looking
and
forward to that.
Pick some
I-
good music for him for his.
And I have a
talent
good-
portion.
I have a good with that music. I have a good routine. I'm excited to do for
Ah.
for,
Gonna
for
be
the
fun.
current.
So
That'd
is
be
it
awesome.
so the cutie pageant? Is it a competition? Is it like a dance comp or
No,
or what?
so it's got two. Well, it is. I think there is a winner. There's judges and everything. There's two parts to it. There's a catwalk
Mhm.
thing, basically. In
It's like
this
Miss
case, a pop walk.
Universe.
Okay.
It's and so you dress up, in some garb, some outfit or something, and do the whole catwalk thing. And there's music, and there's judges to that. Then the second part, and I don't know which they do first or anything, so I haven't done it before. The other part is a talent portion where you just do something for 1 to 3 minutes, and there's judges, and for that too. So
Are you gonna
there's
twirl
kinda two
batons?
parts to it. So,
Twirl
What's
baton.
that?
Are you going to twirl baton?
for example,
yes.
yes, I think it was last
That's
year's.
Since this comes out after he's already there, he's hulaing the hoop.
Hula
As
in
we
the hoop.
speak.
I see.
As we
Okay.
speak,
Yes.
at the moment, I am
Yes.
He is
hula-ing
hulaing
the hoop
the hoop.
Hula hooping and twirling
It
a
is
baton
gonna
at the same time.
It is going to be
at the same
amazing.
time.
Yes.
All right. Cool. I
hope
can't
so.
wait to see the video of the swimsuit competition.
Can't either.
All right.
Yes.
So the same weekend in Arlington, Virginia, if you can't get up to Surrey, British Columbia, is Furthermore.
If you're not watching me,
2024. If you're not watching Taebyn, the 14th through the 17th in Dallas, Texas, is Texas Furry Fiesta. And are you going? You're not going to that, are you, Taebyn?
I'm not going to TFF this year. No.
Okay. All right. Fernal Equinox.
We're doing Denver instead.
Okay. Fernal Equinox is coming up March 15th to the 17th in Toronto, Ontario, Canada. Gateway Fur Meet 2024 is the same weekend, the 15th through the 17th in St. Louis, Missouri. The Las Vegas Fur Con is coming up March 29th through the 31st in Las Vegas, Nevada. I know a lot of furs are going to that. I've seen a lot of chatter on the Telegram
I
about
really want to go to that sometime.
LVFC. Yep. I would like to go to that sometime too. Not this year.
Yeah,
Maybe next
me
year.
too.
Yes.
Yeah, not this year. Really. Yeah, I've also won. Maybe all three should go together sometime because we all want to
Yeah.
go apparently. So
Yeah.
It's-
Why don't we
like, I
plan
love-
on
I grew
going?
up near it.
Why don't we plan on going to Las Vegas FurCon 2025? You heard it here first,
Yeah.
Furks. You heard it
Furks.
here first.
That's the new word in the
Furks.
Fluffster's dictionary.
Yes,
Furks. That
furks.
means furry folks.
Very first, yes. All right. Fernal Equinox in Toronto. I said that already. Gateway Fur Meet in St. Louis, Missouri. I've lost my chain of thought. Fantastique is coming up on March 29th through the April 2nd in Braun, France. The Golden State Fur Con is coming up in Los Angeles, the April 5th through the 7th in Los Angeles, California. Also that same weekend is Murder City Fur Con? No, Motor.
where did that come from?
What
Wow.
is it?
Yeah. So,
It isn't.
This
It's
this
in
particular
Detroit.
one is a con full of crows because it's
it's a murder.
So
Yes, it's CrowCon. That's
It's
the
CrowCon.
Motor City Fur Con in Ypsilanti, Michigan, which is Ypsilanti where I thought Detroit was Motor City.
Ypsilanti is like one of those towns that was really close
Oh,
to
okay.
Detroit.
isn't it it's like a suburb?
It's like
I
a
think.
suburb, if I'm not mistaken.
A
Yeah.
sub fur. All right. And then Furcation Land. I love that title. Furcation Land
That's a good one,
2024. It's coming up April 12th to the 14th in Portland, Maine. And I don't know
I have
why.
not heard of that one. I don't think.
No,
The
that's a
Maine
new one.
Portland, not our Portland.
Not our Portland, but Maine, Portland, Maine. It's the Portland by the Bay, the Holiday Inn. And And that takes us up to Cheetaro's movie review. And what is Cheetaro reviewing today for us, Rayne?
Let's go visit Cheetaro and see what he has for us to review.
Okay.
There you go.
Hey, Cheetaro, I hear you got a movie review for us this week.
I do, as a matter of fact. I do. It's a movie called, and it's an acronym, it's called ACORN. So it's A period C period O period R period N period S period. So ACORN's Operation Crackdown.
You know how I love a good acronym.
Yeah, well, you're going to really love this acronym. This acronym stands for... Okay, I have to stop laughing because it's really funny. It's Alternative Cosmetic Oils for Regenerative Natural Skincare.
Okay. I could use some of that.
I know. Let's see. Can I buy this at the store? No. The characters basically call this affectionately butt cream.
Oh, God. Tell me more.
Yeah. Well, this movie is kind of reminds me of a James Bond / Get Smart kind of movie.
Nice.
It's done in computer animation, and when I was watching this with my partner, he says to me, he goes, "Why do those squirrels' faces look so creepy?"
Uncanny Valley.
Yeah, but it's really a cute movie, you know, because this one squirrel gets out of jail and he says, you know, I want to eat, and all these acorns are gone. Well, he finds out that all of these acorns are going to, well, the alternative cosmetic oils for regenerative natural skincare, you know.
AKA butt cream.
Butt cream, yeah. And he says, how are we supposed to eat if all of these acorns are gone? So he goes to one guy and he says, hey, you know I just came out of jail, but I think I need to do a heist of all of these acorns. So he plans a mission and goes and steals all of these acorns. And, you know, and the funny part is there's one line that I have to say that I had to write down because it was awesome. This one character, he's a porcupine, and they're watching because humans are actually guarding this acorn facility, so you can't come in and steal. You know, they have all these underground things that you can make sure that the underground animals don't try to come and steal their acorns and all this stuff.
Sneaky.
And this porcupine, he says, all humans look exactly the same.
That checks.
Yeah, so, but it's a really fun movie. I enjoyed it. It was something that you didn't half expect. Jason Jones and Samantha Bee are some of the characters.
Oh my gosh, I love
voices.
Samantha Bee.
Yeah, well, and Jason Jones is married to Samantha Bee. So
that's where I know that name from.
Yeah, and John Cleese is even a voice in this movie,
nice.
And it's and
little
John
Monty
Leguizamo.
Python.
Yeah, absolutely, and you know you can't even tell that it's him.
Oh wow!
I literally had to look to see which character he was, but
well, he is a fairly good voice actor. I mean, he's been doing it for quite a while.
Just a couple of years, yeah. But it was a great movie. I enjoyed it. It kept my attention. The whole entire heist scene is just, you know, awesome. All you furs out there have to see this movie. This movie's on Hulu. It's streaming on Hulu right now from 2015. But like I said, it's computer animated. It does have a couple of weird, I don't know, computer-generated things that kind of look weird along the way. But, you know, you can't make everything perfect, right?
No, I mean, especially if you're trying to rush a movie out. You know, kids' movies a lot of times don't get the extra love and attention that they need to be, like, just perfect when they're animating them. So I mean,
that's very true.
It's been a big thing for years. You look at the Flintstones, all the Hanna-Barbera stuff. They just did a lot of 2-step animation so that they wouldn't have to really, fill in all those scenes. With real animation. So it's been something that they've been doing for decades. Since animation came out, they've been cheating the viewers by reducing the amount of actual artwork that has to be made.
Well, this one has some really good background art, and the one of the beginning areas of the movie when the squirrel is going through trying to see if he can find where an acorn was. He's running through these trees and doing, flowing through. That was actually done very well.
Nice.
But, there, like I said, there's a couple of parts in it that are a little clunky. Mm-hmm. But, every movie has its clunkiness occasionally.
Oh, right? Yeah. I think you've heard about my beefs with Titanic, James Cameron's Titanic. I mean, yes. Brilliant movie. I mean, some of the scenes in Titanic are just breathtaking, and then there's some where they should have just built a set instead of putting the actors in front of a green screen because it's way too obvious. So, like, green screens work best when the replace that you're putting in place of the green screen has some dimensionality. It's got to have some depth to it. Well, there's a scene in Titanic where Jack and Rose are in front of a bulkhead, which is just a flat wall. And they green screened it, and it looks really bad. You can tell that they're the only three-dimensional-esque stuff in front of this wall, and it just looks odd. It put me off a lot on that spot of the movie. It just broke my suspension of disbelief, and I could not, for the life of me, get it out of my head.
Well, there was a scene in Titanic for me that kind of made me laugh really hard. It was like they were focused on some people and they started walking, and then they panned out to show the whole entire ship, and you could see where it went from live action to all animated because you could see the clunkiness of all the people walking. Yeah.
It's and especially then that was early CGI stuff. It's just. There's a time and a place for green screening, and you need to know where that time and place is. Put some dimensionality there so that the three-dimensional people that you're filming in front of the screen don't become flat.
For sure.
It makes them look like cartoons. It's weird when you're watching that. But, like I said, I understand when you're making a cartoon, they've got to get it out, and they've got to do it for the least amount of money. And even digital animation costs, hundreds of thousands of dollars an hour to do. So I can understand when they kind of fudge it a little bit just to make it, make their deadlines.
Well, this movie, according to IMDb, said that it made just over $1 million.
Oh wow! So that's not a big haul for them.
Yeah. So, I mean, it obviously was not a movie that everybody ran out to go see, but I would say, that I don't think it was advertised well, to be honest. Because,
I hadn't heard of it.
I was alive in 2015.
Me too.
And I don't remember any of this movie being advertised or anything like that.
No,
but I will say that the end credits give a big, gigantic fanfare to Canada.
Oh, nice.
And the majority of the actors that are in this are from Canada. Mm-hmm. I mean, John Cleese is not. John Leguizamo is not.
Right.
But, Samantha Bee and Jason Jones are, and a few others were. And so maybe
Canada's
it's
a fantastic
because...
place to film. I know they shot I think it's from the second season on of MacGyver was all shot up in Canada because it was just a better work environment, and it was less expensive for the studio to shoot up there.
Yeah. Well, I know there's lots of TV shows. There was one from the early O's called Smallville. It was a story of Superman.
I watched every episode. I loved that show, and That was filmed in Canada.
Yep,
I've met Tom Welling. He is fantastic and just such a sweetheart.
Now I'm jealous.
Oh, God, he's gorgeous too. So even all these years later, he is gorgeous. He's filled out a little bit, as a lot of us do.
That's
but
true.
He is still very much gorgeous Clark Kent looking guy. I mean, when he guessed it in the last season of I think it was the last season of The Flash, or the second to the last season of The Flash.
I believe so, yeah.
As the Superman who gave up his powers and just became a normal guy. So Lex Luthor goes to try and kill him and throws him a chunk of kryptonite, and he grabs it, and it's like, yeah, well, what am I supposed to do with this? And he's like, shouldn't you be writhing on the ground in pain right now? He's like, oh no, I gave up my powers to have a happy life with Lois. So
that's fair.
Yeah, he's still just a gorgeous man, and yeah, I loved Smallville. It was a good show.
Oh yeah,
but
it was awesome.
So, what would you say the rating is for Acorns?
You know, as much as I want to give this a high number, I'm going to give it middle of the road, 3 chirps.
Okay.
Because, you know, it did keep my attention. And things like that. But, you know, I think they could have done better in a few of the scenes, so to speak. But, you know, I'll let the furs out there that want to watch this movie judge for themselves. But I think it's definitely a solid 3 chirps for sure.
Oh, well, that's always like a good backup movie to watch if you're not sure what you want. I mean, your 3 chirps movies all tend to be pretty darn good.
Yeah. So far I can say, since I've been reviewing movies, I'm not sure I've seen any movie below a 3 chirp.
No, I don't believe you have. So and all of them, I've watched almost all of them, and they are all pretty darn good.
Yeah. Well, you know, I will say, when I go about looking for a movie to review, I spend a lot of time on Netflix, Hulu, Prime, Paramount, and go, okay, what would be a good movie? As a matter of fact, my next movie is going to also be streaming on Hulu as well, that I'm going to be doing. Yeah. It kind of has the same theme-esque as this movie. It's called Spy Cat.
Ooh, I like Spy Cat.
Sounds
good.
Yeah. It's going to be fun, for sure. And so... it's going to be fun for sure.
Fun for sure. That's possum.
Yes. Awesome possum.
Yes.
Or kitty possum, I'm not sure which.
Or puppy possum, or raccoon possum, or any possum. Possum is possum, no matter what what animal you are.
Or even barely possum.
Mm-hmm. Those are big possums.
You
only get barely possum if it's really, really good.
That's for sure. That's true.
Well, okay, Charo, I will see you next time, and we'll do another movie review.
Yeah, absolutely. All you furs, go out and look up Acorn's Operation Crackdown. You will enjoy it. And have a great time.
Thanks, Cheetaro.
Bye for now.
Well, that was a great movie review. I think I might have to take a listen to that movie and take a watch, perhaps. Okay,
not just listen to it. That's not it.
I know. I'm gonna put the closed captioning on so that it tells me what's happening instead of giving me dialogue. Okay.
Yes.
So
the moth tells you why it's important.
That's right. Legoshi eats a moth. Okay. All right. So we have a story now.
Yes.
And who's reading this story?
That would be me.
You're going to read the story. Okay.
Yeah, Taebyn has not had a chance to get any new books yet.
I do actually have a new book. My honey got a new book for me to read.
Ah, okay. Well,
so
he asked me this morning, or he asked us this morning if either of us wanted to read a book. And I said, well, I can check my Kindle and see if there's any cute books. And this one came pretty highly recommended. It's from Red Beetle Books. Lily and Millie Frog with Shog and Piggle in Frogs in Space. By Lizette Starr and illustrated by Gustiawan. It starts off with a puppy sitting on a picnic blanket with a frog.
Puppy.
And it says,
I'm a puppy.
yes. It says, one day in the woods by the pond near the log, Lily was having a picnic with Shog. So the dog's name is Shog.
Shog the
When
dog.
a ringing sound started on Lily's phone, it was her sister Millie, and she was alone. She wanted Lily to come and play. She invited her over that very same day. Lily was thrilled as she really missed her, so Shog went along with Lily to visit her sister. And so it's got Shog and Lily and a sheep who we don't know who she is, because I know it's a she because she's got a purse and a feminine look about her.
Don't assume
So,
their gender. Don't assume.
Well, we don't want to assume, but I'm pretty sure it's a she. And they're all on the bus riding and having a good time
Sheep.
talking. Sheep. It's a sheep. Yes. So definitely a sheep. It's a sheep. But when they arrived at her sister's place, Millie had such a sad look on her face. What's wrong, Millie Frog? Lily inquired. But Millie just sighed, I'm so sick and tired. And so the next scene, after they visited her, is at a park, and it says there's a sign that says grass growing. And then there's a little building.
Is it closed captioned? Grass growing.
And there's a little building, little purple building that says wet paint. And then there's a frog sitting on a bench, and he's reading tax law. It says, and she says, all the frogs around here are totally boring. An hour with them, and I just start snoring.
So the frogs around there are totally boring? Is that
Apparently, because they're just
Totally.
watching paint dry and
Totally.
grass grow. And
Yeah.
yes. So it's always the same. There's nothing new. I want something fun and exciting to do. We could play hopscotch or marbles or jacks, or you could play bongos while I play my sax.
Sax and
So
bongos.
they're all playing. Yes, they're all playing in the bands. And then they go to a human zoo where there's
wow.
there's a sign on the bars that say Homo sapien, and there's a really sad looking guy behind the bars
I
on a
bet.
laptop at a desk,
The laptop
like
in the
working
desk.
in his office and stuff.
Eating a moth.
Eating them on.
We could go to the park or even the zoo, read books or play tennis, or build a canoe. And then
Wait a minute.
what?
Build a canoe. Okay.
build a canoe. Apparently, but I don't know
Why
why
not?
frogs
I
need
mean,
a
come on,
canoe.
why
I
not?
mean, they're amphibious, but
Yeah.
so in the
Yeah,
next scene,
exactly. Why not build a canoe?
Lily and Millie and Shog are in the kitchen, and Lily and Millie are painting, and Shog is baking. It says, we could do art or make a blueberry pie. There are so many marvelous things I could try. No, said Millie, you don't understand. I want something wild and unplanned. And so the next scene is the three of them in spacesuits on, looks like Mars.
Building a canoe, of course.
Yeah, and a disco ball in the background
And
instead
the
of the
disco
sun.
ball in the back.
It's a disco ball because there's a string hanging down holding the disco ball up.
Oh, they're
Yes.
pretending.
Sounds like a rendition of Crispy
Yeah.
Ascension.
Yes.
Sounds like one, yes. I want an adventure in some other place, somewhere exciting, like outer space. You should come with me to visit the moon. We could go there tomorrow, if that's not too soon. And so Lily and Millie are Lily's sitting on the couch, and Millie says to her, "Are you sure?" Lily said. "It's a long way to fly. I'm sure we could find something fun that's nearby." No,
That is
said
not
Millie.
how I expected the rhyme to go. I expected to like rhyme with red, like bread, or
Right.
but it didn't. What did it do?
So
Try and fly.
So, no, said Millie. The problem's this place. There's just no fun here, not even a trace. And so then the next picture is Shog and a pig, who I don't know who the pig is. That might be the other character that they introduced
Probably
at the beginning
sheep's
that I
lover
forgot
or
about
something.
already.
That's Flake
and-
the pig.
Yes, and so then they're all standing around in the thing, and Lily's got a iPad with a spaceship on it, and so,
Of
well,
course.
said Lily, we need a spaceship and a captain and crew to help with the trip. She's a pilot, or Shog is a pilot, so he should come too. And maybe we invite Piggy. It's just the least we could do. The piggy's name is Piggy.
Well, yeah.
Easy enough, yes. The very next morning, before the break of day, they packed up their car and got underway. And then the next picture, they're standing out in a field, and there's a rocket in the background, and the sign below the rocket says "Rocket Hire," and it says they arrived at the launch pad and signed a big docket. They picked up the keys and walked to their rocket.
Okay. It's like a rental rocket.
Apparently, yes.
It's a rocket for hire. Okay,
Yes.
okay.
Yes.
And then the captions, and then the closed captions at the same time are saying, Shog and Piggy build a canoe. Because that's exactly what they're saying, right?
Yes, yes.
So they loaded their bags and put on their spacesuits. They had their helmets and gloves and padded moon boots. They're all sitting in the spaceship cockpit, and Shog is in the pilot's seat, and they're all getting ready to take off. The frogs climbed on board and strapped themselves in. Then Shog took his seat and asked, "Shall we begin?" And then the next
we rented the
picture
damn
is,
thing.
yeah, the next picture is Shog pressing the big launch button on the dash that says "click."
Launch.
And Pickle clipped up his seatbelt over his paunch, and then Shog pushed the button and started the launch. And then the next picture is the rocket lifting off and lots of smoke and stuff. The engines fired up with a mighty big roar.
Disco ball going in full swing?
No, they haven't got to the disco ball yet.
Oh, they have. Okay.
Yeah, the engines fired up with a mighty big roar. They rumbled and shook right up through the floor. Then the rocket took off at a startling pace, and before long, they were in outer space.
Wow.
They flew and they flew until just after noon, when out of the window, they saw the moon, and they're all in the spaceship, and they're looking out the window at the moon.
Nice.
Is that where that like mice and ice and cheese come in?
Yes.
Yes.
Mhm.
So they landed their ship and unlocked the hatch, and Lily and Piggy climbed out of the hatch.
Fair enough.
Shog turned off the engines and followed them out, but Millie stayed put. She was having some doubt.
Uh-oh.
She sat in the rocket and
Drama.
watched her friends play as they giggled and danced and did moonwalk ballet.
Oh, so now Michael Jackson appears.
Moonwalk ballet.
Yeah. Millie just sighed. The moon's dreary and drab. I want to go somewhere that's totally fab. There's nothing to do here. Look at this, but look at the stars. I think I would have had a lot more fun on Mars.
Uh-oh.
They all talked it over, and Shog was quite keen, but Pickle resisted. I've already been. Or been, I guess.
Bean, I think.
I think this is a British author, yes. Make it rhyme.
Yeah.
And not only that, but it's quite a long flight. We'd probably have to stay overnight.
Probably. It's like
Probably, yes.
like for 5 years. Yes, you're going to stay
God,
there.
the next picture.
Is
And
there a
Lily
hotel?
insisted it's not all that dire. We could tell stories around a campfire, and they're all on Mars, and there's a campfire.
Now,
And they're
wait a
got space
minute.
suits.
Wait a minute.
Mhm.
I have questions.
There's a frog and a dog, or 2 frogs and a dog and a pig flying to the moon.
And you have
Pickle
problems with
agreed.
a fire. Okay, good.
Yeah. Pickle agreed that would be okay, so they hopped in their rocket and got underway. But when they arrived at their destination, Millie just sighed in utter frustration. And of course, she's standing there with her little, like, flower in her hair and her little, like, spacesuit and just being all
Brownie face.
frowny and, yeah, just uncontent. I had no idea that Mars was so dour. I don't want to stay here, not even an hour. There's nothing
can't
so dull
really-
as a
you
planet
can't-
that's red. If I yawn any harder, I'll swallow my head.
What? Okay, so
Millie sounds like
again, there are
She's
Rhymes with
that's
good.
exactly what I'm thinking. Like, come on.
kind of high maintenance. She's
Very,
kind of high
Very
maintenance.
high maintenance. Like,
So the
take
next-
this cracker and go in the corner and shut up. That's what I have to say.
Shog was confused and a little bit puzzled. He wondered why Millie was feeling so troubled. And then the picture has them all standing in front of a window, and there's a Martian out riding a penny farthing. And there's a sign that says Spring Fair pointing in the direction he's riding. And Lily was shocked and a little distressed by all of the gloom that her sister expressed. Millie, said Piggle, I know you feel blue, but that feeling will pass, as all feelings do. And of course, she's a blue frog.
And also as we make our new canoe.
Right. Don't you know what you think affects how you feel? If you think something's dull, then it won't have much appeal. If you just see what's wrong and you don't look for what's right, you'll miss all the good things that hide in plain sight. Why, just out that window, there's something you'll like. There's a little green clown and he's riding a bike. And they're looking out the window, and Millie finally sees it, the little alien. Millie wasn't convinced until she turned around, and there in plain sight was a cute Martian clown. And he's wearing Barely's vest from Pride,
Okay.
It's definitely your vest.
The big, the rainbow sparkly
Yes,
one.
the rainbow sparkling one.
Okay, fair enough.
Millie called to the clown, "Hey, where are you going?" And the clown smiled and happily... sorry, easy for me to say. Millie called to the clown, "Hey, where are you going?" And the clown smiled back and happily glowing, "I'm on my way to the Martian Spring Fair. You should come with me. It's right over there." And then they're at the big... There's a big fair and a roller coaster and a Ferris wheel and tents, and all the Martians are out having a good time. "And bring all your friends for a jolly good time. There'll be music and rides and puppets that mime." Millie was thrilled that they were all invited. The fun of the fair had them quite excited, and they're all riding a roller coaster. They rode the ghost train and a big roller coaster, and ate green chestnuts from a Martian nut roaster.
8?
Yes.
8, exactly 8?
Yeah, no,
Okay.
not 8.
As in
they
eating.
ate, as in eating.
Oh, they
But
ate.
They also have their space helmets on.
Yeah,
So I don't know how they're enjoying them. But the pig has a big bag of chestnuts.
Yes.
And they're
that are
throwing it
roasted.
at their
face mask.
face, but like
Yeah,
it's not
I don't know how
going
they're
in.
eating
It's
it.
like
Yes.
spreading all over the place because it doesn't go through their face. But they're trying. They're trying really
They're trying
hard to
really
get
hard.
hustle points.
Yes.
So they had hours of fun and a really long nap. Then they hopped in their rocket so they could go back. As they waved goodbye to the little green clown, Millie was pleased. She no longer felt down. But she wondered just how much fun there had been right under the nose that she'd never seen. How much fun there had been right under her nose
Okay.
that she'd
I was
never
like,
seen.
wait a minute,
Yes.
That doesn't rhyme. Okay.
So when
got it.
she got home, she had a look around and couldn't believe all the things that she found. And so in the next thing, there's a fairy flying around and a leprechaun on his rainbow and a pot of gold, and all the flowers have little like smiley faces, and there's 2 fish looking at her from the little river, and the sun
2
has
fish?
a happy face. Yes.
Oh.
There were so many wondrous things everywhere that she just hadn't seen, even though they were there. So she made a decision that she thought was wise. From that day forward, she'd open her eyes, and she's on a unicorn that looks like Butt Stallion from the game we were talking about earlier, and the little fairy is like waving her wand and stuff.
Is the unicorn wearing a tutu?
No, it's got a rainbow mane and tail, just like Princess Butt Stallion. With every new day, it could be cloudy or bright, she would look for the good things that hide in plain sight. So that is the end of
Aww.
Frogs in Space.
Cute.
Yeah, I thought it was a cute little book.
Cute.
I liked it.
Cute.
Ah.
Oh.
Okay, on the count of 3, 1, 2, 3.
Oh.
We actually
though I
did that,
screwed
like,
up the
actually in unison.
We
I
did.
think that's the first time
That's the first time we've
Ever.
done this
In
ever. Yes.
4
This
years.
is a BFFT. This is
The
a
first.
BFFT exclusive.
Yes.
This is an exclusive. This episode. This is the episode that will go down in history because it is the first time we
Time
actually
we
did
ever
it in
synchronized.
unison.
Yes. Okay.
And we didn't plan it.
We didn't plan it. No, the planet Mars. Yes.
Planet Mars, yes.
Which clearly has gravity and you can eat through your space helmets. Okay.
Apparently.
And
so-
fire.
And fire where there's no oxygen.
There's no oxygen. There's
Yay. Good for you. Okay.
You thought you had troubles with the Universal Translator.
Right. Yeah. Frogs had fires. Who knew? Who knew?
in a non-oxygenic.
And
how do you
rocket
say
ship hires.
how do you
Oxygenated
say
atmosphere.
oxygenated? Is that
Yes.
the word?
Mhm.
Non-oxygenated. Okay.
Yes.
I think I learned
Yes.
something just now.
All right. Before we end our show, let's plug our stuff, other stuff that we're doing. Taebyn, what have you got to plug this evening, this afternoon, today, this morning?
This thing.
Mm-hmm.
So, all you first, if you've been listening for the past, few months, I've been talking about I have a fourth wall. And if you had gone there, it would say, there's nothing to see here. It's like, okay, that was anticlimactic. Thanks, Taebyn, for...
It did
But
say
I
that.
actually have stuff now. There's merch on my fourth wall.
And it's cute. It's cute merch too, I have to say.
It is. It's good. It's good. Oh, yeah. No, it actually came out really well.
Yeah.
So it's taebyn-shop.fourthwall.com, or just go to fourthwall.com and search for Taebyn. I currently have a T-shirt and a mug with a pretty nice picture thing, puppy fur thing that I had Tater commissioned for me. Also have some stickers on there, and they're pretty good. My hubby actually bought one of the shirts, and I didn't even know a puppy fur shirt. And he came down the other day, and he's wearing it, and I had to do a second take. It's like, that looks familiar, and it's like he bought one of the shirts, and it's cool. And I've sold another one too. Like there's two that have been sold, and one is to hubby, but I don't know who the other one is. So that was actually exciting to see.
Wow. You can go on. You can go to the back side of it, and it'll show you who bought it.
Oh, okay. Yeah. I haven't tried that yet.
Yeah,
okay.
You go to the back, and then
I've just been looking at the numbers, but you can see.
You can see who bought it, and you can actually then send them a personalized thank you. Like you could record a little video,
really,
or you can send a video or an audio thank you to the person that bought the stuff. Yeah.
That is, I'm glad I said that because I didn't know about that. I'm going to have to do that because all I did was like just tweet and Blue Sky and thank you. And I just said thank you to, but they're probably not going to see it. And it's like, so this is good. I can do that. That's exciting. Yeah. So I have that, and I plan to put some more on because I am a moron. So,
well, don't worry, I'll help you.
Thank you. Yeah.
A big moron and a little moron were sitting on a log. Which fell off?
Little moron.
No. The big moron fell off because the other one was a little more on.
Oh. But I mean, because I was trying, because the Pete and Pete were sitting off on a bridge. Pete fell off. Who was left?
Repeat.
Pete and Pete were sitting on a bridge. Pete fell off. Anyway,
Stephen King has a son named Joe.
Oh, you're joking.
I know that. No, I'm not joking, but he is.
Okay. Yes. Oh God.
My cow. Anyway. So I plan to put more things on. That's what I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Including probably one, if I can figure out how. Rayne, I might ask you to help, or barely, because you know how to do this stuff too. But my Taebyn chips that I pass out at cons, I'll probably put some of those on. Those are the main things I've been really excited about the fourth wall. Just having stuff up there is just great to finally do and everything. So yeah, that's my stuff. How about you, Barely and Rayne? What are your projects or things you're doing?
Oh, my other two projects are just the other two podcasts. Which
because you don't have time for anything else.
Right. So I've got two other podcasts, Off Leash and Royal Highness. So give them a listen. You can find them on the Injured Nerves Podcast Network. And there we go. Rayne, how about you?
So I've got 3Do Who with my two amazing co-hosts, Barely and James. Barely as his alter ego, Mike. And then I also
what is 3Do Who about again?
3Do Who is a monthly Doctor Who podcast where we talk about all things Doctor Who. So it's two Americans and one British guy who's got more knowledge about Doctor Who than anybody probably in the Whoniverse.
That anybody should. He has more knowledge than
James has a problem. James has a problem, and we're monopolizing him to use that problem to do a podcast.
He has a Doctor Who room.
Any good friend, yes. Like any good friends, we're using his problem to make ourselves popular.
We're enabling him. We're enabling.
And then we've got my Friday Night Rack Tracks on Twitch at twitch.tv//Rayne Raccoon. That's 6 to 8 p.m. Pacific time, most Fridays.
Wonderful. And
and you do and you play music, and sometimes you play games there. Is that what happens?
Sometimes you do. Twitch? We haven't had enough players for me to play games. I'll get quite a few people that pop in and out of the stream, but at the beginning, when we were playing games at the beginning, you need about 4 to 5 players for the Jackbox games. And since we haven't been getting that many at the very beginning, people are popping in kind of later in the stream. So I've just been doing music lately. So
and it's great music from what I've heard. All you furs out there, take a listen.
Great. Yeah,
a lot of the same kind of stuff I play at the cons, and then some of the more adult stuff that I don't normally play at cons.
And there's a link in the show notes for the show for the Twitch stream. So
Thank you.
For those of you that don't know or don't read the show descriptions, all the links to the places that we talk about or things that we do are in the show notes for each episode. So like Taebyn's Fourth Wall, Taebyn's YouTube channel, Rayne's Friday Night Traxx. You can buy Wild Bill Soda. There's merch for us at Redbubble, Bonfire, and Fourth Wall. So all of those links are in the show notes. And on most platforms, they're clickable. On some, they're not. If, good listener, you're listening and they don't click, let me know and I can give you a link in Telegram. All right, Furs. Well,
or you can go to where is it? barelyfurcasting.com.
Yes, they're all there. Yes, barelyfurcasting.com.
Yep, they should all be there, yeah.
Furcasting.com.
Yep. Well, that's it. We're done with this episode. We laughed, we cried, we peed a little, and we might have learned some things too. Remember, you can help support the show, as we said, through donations at Coffee, Patreon, or by
didn't know you were watching.
Yes, I watched you pee a little.
I thought I shut their camera off.
No, you didn't. You didn't.
Sorry.
Nope, sorry. You can subscribe on Buzzsprout if you want. You don't have to, but it does help support the show. There is merch available for Taebyn on Fourth Wall, as I said, and pod merch also on Rebel and Bonfire. And so until next time here at BFFT, on behalf of the Injured Nerd Podcast Network, I say Moobarkfluff, stay furry. Rayne, any last remarks?
I just want to remind everybody, be kind to yourself and each other, and say to my lovely boyfriend Ziggy, I love you, baby.
Who you get to see in a few months?
Get to see in a few months at Furlandia. And any fur that wants to meet Ziggy, be at Furlandia with me.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess
probably attached like to me at the hip. So, yeah.
And I guess plug for BFFT staff that any fur that wants to meet, like the entire BFFT staff, we will all, for the first time, be together at Furlandia in Portland in May. This year, we've never all, because Chile's a long way away, and that's where Ziggy is.
It's like 46-hour flight that he's going through.
I know, it's crazy. So we'll all actually be together, which is all exciting for us, of course. But if you first want to meet us all, be there at the same time at Furlandia.
Yes,
yep. It'll be Taebyn, me, Ziggy, Barely, and Cheetaro. So we'll all of our current staff will be there.
Absolutely. Taebyn.
Which will help us get around because of all the staffs we have.
That's right. Yes. Walking staff.
But a staph infection.
Don't get a staph infection. Yes. Taebyn.
No.
And now it falls to you to close out our show and send our listeners on their merry, furry way.
They're falling?
They're falling.
I don't even know what that means. They're falling. This is the falling. Yes, of course, as I say to all you furs, thank you so much for listening. It's been a fun time. It's been good times. We've been doing stuff, and it's good. It's exciting times, and I really hope you enjoyed listening to us talk about whatever it was we talked about on this show today. 2 things, whatever it is, whatever I'm talking about, I don't know. So I'll just say thank you so much. Can't wait to bark at you next time, whenever that may be. Hope to have you talk with Pausies. At a con or something, and so until then, I say Moobarkfluff, stay furry, bark bark.
Barely Furcasting is an Injured Nerve studio production and is found on all major podcast platforms or can be heard directly at barelyfurcasting.com. The Furcast is produced, recorded, and directed by Barely Normal, aka Mike Began, and is edited by Barely and our associate producer Rayne Raccoon. Opening and closing theme music, as well as some interstitial music, was created for Injured Nerves Productions for the use on the podcast by Reg Day with Damian Tanuki. If you would like to hear more music by Reg Day, you can search for Tweezer Beak on Bandcamp or Hoop Loop Tunes on SoundCloud. Other interstitial and background music through silvermansound.com, Gator Tots on SoundCloud.com, the YouTube Free Use Library, and Epidemic Sound. If you would like to send us a message, you can do so via email at barelyfurcasting@gmail.com or on our Telegram chat at BFFTchat, on Twitter, on our Facebook page, or on the barelyfurcasting.com webpage. You can help support the show through donations at coffee.com/barelyfurcasting or through Patreon at patreon.com/barelyfurcasting. Thanks for listening. We hope you come back and listen next week.